Hi, thank you so much. So my son was diagnosed as autistic at 18 months old, which at the time, and I think it still is the youngest you can really be diagnosed with autism. So the milestone I'm going to share with you to neurotypical parents watching, they probably wouldn't be ones that are like normally celebrated or considered like, really huge, but they were so important in my son's life, and seeing him be able to reach them as a parent was just so awesome. So the first one is, my son, he did not speak verbally at all until like 5 years old. Even now, he's not like fully verbal, but he can still communicate on a day-to-day basis by verbalizing like phrases of what he needs, what he wants. But I'll never forget one time, this is when he first got an AAC device, which is a device that allows them to communicate through like different apps on iPads and other devices. And he was mad. He was in therapy and he was really pissed off. And he was able to type out, "I am angry." And I was so proud. Like, I was so happy. And, like, I realized as it was happening, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so, like, happy that my son just expressed that he's pissed off. But, like, it made me so happy that, like, he was able to say that he was not comfortable and he was not okay with something. So, another milestone that really sticks out in my head is when my son learned to cover himself with a blanket. My son didn't learn how to cover himself with a blanket until he was probably, I'd say, like 7 years old. And now, here's the wild thing about how interesting the brain is and how complex it is. My son at this point was already like coding on the computer. He already excelled past his age level in math. He was able to reconstruct puzzles put in front of him by memory. He could just like reconstruct them like almost immediately. But a task like putting a blanket on was something he struggled with. So I remember feeling so relieved when he was able to cover himself up with a blanket, because I was always so nervous at night because, in the winter, I live in New Hampshire, it gets really cold, and he would kick him off at night, and the problem was is he didn't understand how to, like, put him back on himself, and so I'd be constantly checking on him at night, putting his blanket back on, and then finally he got it and he could do it himself. Another huge milestone was realizing just how, like, confident and just unapologetic he is. My son is definitely unique. He has specific interests. He's his own dude. And he owns it. He is so proud of himself and he does not care how anybody feels about it. And I'm so proud because listen, I know he got that from me. Like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me. But he did get that from me. Come on. Like, I come on here, I talk about, how, yeah, I'm this big, bald, trans guy covered in bad tattoos, but I'm fucking awesome. Now I got a missing tooth and I'm the shit still. And he sees that and he embodies it, and I'm so proud of him. And he's even better at it than I am. I'll never forget one time he had an appointment, and this is when the pandemic first started. So a lot of hospitals and stuff, they started implementing like different like mask protocols and like, capacity limits, which I completely understand. And I'd always be respectful of my son. He was clinically immunocompromised at the time, so I would never like knowingly not respect something like that. But this was at the beginning, so people really like we were just all getting used to it. And so my husband and I brought him to an appointment at the children's hospital, and when I went up there, the woman told us that only one of us could go in, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And the lady's explaining the protocol and like I'm apologizing, and my son said, no, do not apologize for that. He teaches me something in that aspect. Like, he teaches me, like, you only say sorry if it's something to be sorry about. He will not apologize unless he means it, which is rarely.